Hello, hope you're having a great day. Now, after the last couple of days that have been basically nothing days, partly because I've been ill, I knew that I needed to pull my finger out today and get back on track. And so far, I have been able to do that. I did get up when my second alarm went at 7:30, although I ended up sitting on my bed for a while before I actually stood up. But yeah, that's better than going back to sleep like I have been the last couple of days. But yeah, what's been different this morning is, normally I'll wake up and I've got a very strong inner resistance, my lazy mind trying to persuade me to stay in bed, trying to persuade me not to do what I know I need to do to, go through my routine, etc. Yeah, normally that voice is very loud, and then in the background, very quietly, I've got the voice that's trying to tell me, no, you know what you need to do, you need to get up, you need to go through your morning routine. When I'm tired, the louder voice most of the time is my, lazy mind. But this morning, it was kind of the other way around. Even though I was tired, the voice that was the loudest was the voice telling me, look, you know what you need to do. You need to get up. You need to have your water. You need to go for your walk, meditate, write in your journal, etc., etc. So I'm not going to say it made it easy, but yeah, I was sort of able to hone in on the voice that's going to serve me rather than that being, very light in the background. And then, after I had my water and my salt water and my vitamin C and brushed my teeth, I decided I'm going to go for my walk before writing in my journal and meditating. I have just finished my meditation. And when I was doing my meditation, it seemed like all the thoughts that were coming into my mind trying to sort of disturb my meditation, which happens every time I meditate. Yeah, those thoughts were a lot quieter. They were there. Sometimes I have hardly any thoughts. I stay in a sort of present state, for a more prolonged period through the meditation. Sometimes it's a constant thought. Right, let go of that thought, bring yourself back to the breath. Another thought, sometimes it's a constant bouncing back between focusing on your breath and getting drawn into thought. And usually when you're sort of bouncing like that, the thoughts are quite strong. Whereas when you're sort of doing a meditation where there isn't so many thoughts coming in, they are just, really in the background sort of thing. Well, today there were many thoughts, but they seemed very quiet and in the background. It's really hard to explain in words, but I suppose what I'm trying to say is that, when I woke up, I was able to sort of hone into the part of my mind that was going to serve me in terms of, getting me up and getting me moving with my routine. And when I was meditating, I was able to, hone in on the presence a bit more, which then meant that, the other thoughts trying to disturb me weren't able to overcome me as much. And usually in the morning when I'm tired, that's when, my thoughts or the part of my mind that isn't serving me is able to overcome me a bit more. So, that's just something that I sort of noticed this morning, and maybe something that I can sort of try and remember to notice every morning when I wake up and I'm tired. Anyway, today I need to be as productive as I can. I do have quite a lot of running around to do, but I definitely want to do some sort of, messing around with the cars. I'm going to go over to my other garage where my car that's normally stored at home is at the moment, because my favourite car's at home here at the moment. So yeah, need to be super busy today. I've got use of my beautiful girlfriend Kat's car because she's still really ill with the cold that we've both been suffering with. We both got a bit of a headache this morning, weirdly. So yeah, it seems like whatever cold we had is hanging around in the form of a headache, but it is what it is. Now I need to crack on with some sort of workout before I can then jump in my cold shower and have my breakfast. And I think I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to do 2 sets of push-ups, 2 sets of sit-ups, and 2 sets of unweighted squats. And I'm going to try and bang out 25 reps on each set. So let's go. This morning I've been listening to the latest Menace to Sobriety podcast with Daniel O'Reilly. In this one, he's got a guy in called Terry Devine telling his story, who was a heroin addict for 20 years. Now, heroin's obviously not a path that I ever went down, but the way I used to look at it was, between cocaine and heroin, there was just crack. So, if you moved from cocaine to crack, it wasn't much more of a step to end up being on heroin. And if I'm honest, the times where I was, using cocaine every day at work and, really not being able to see myself getting out of that cycle, thoughts started coming into my mind about potentially using crack, because I saw crack as like a cheaper way of using cocaine every day, because sniffing cocaine every day is expensive, like, especially with someone who's not rich. And that kind of stuff does scare me. If I did move on to crack, would I have been able to turn my life around and get to the position where I am now? If I then went that step further and ended up taking heroin, where would I be now? So it's always interesting listening to other people's stories. This guy's clearly turned his life around, thankfully. But I'm going to carry on listening to this whilst I crack on with this workout. All right, well, it has been hours and hours since the last clip. It's now 7:30 in the evening and I've just made my way to the gym. Now, after I spoke to you guys earlier on, I did manage to get out quite early, headed over to my other garage to do some bits on the cars. And while I was on the way there, I was finishing up listening to the podcast that I mentioned I was listening to this morning. And at one point, it got really emotional. The guy was telling us about how after he got clean from heroin, he had to experience his second child dying in his arms at 5 days old, because during the birth, there was a breach where, the baby's trying to come out feet first, and the little baby boy was starved of oxygen for 28 minutes, I think they said it was. And unfortunately, 5 days later, as I say, the little boy died in his arms. And the guy was explaining about, how him and his missus, who was also an ex-addict, got through that, going to the meetings and stuff and, telling everyone their story. Like, the way he put it is, he was telling the story to the point where people were probably getting fed up with it, but, doing what they needed to, crying to get through that grieving period, rather than turning back to drugs, which their addiction in their mind would have been telling them to do, right? When you're going through a traumatic time like that and you're an ex-drug or you're a drug addict, a recovering drug addict, your mind is just going to be telling you to go and use again to take away that pain. And it was really sad listening to the guy explaining this, but also very powerful. There are times on a regular basis where I think to myself, where my mind fantasizes about, when, God forbid, my parents die, then I'm going to get on it. And I have to keep kind of imagining myself going through that trauma and imagine myself not, just going to get back on the sniff, to get through it. And in fact, Daniel Riley himself has mentioned on that podcast where he kind of allows his mind to think, when something tragic happens, I'll get back on it then, as a way of keeping him off it now, right? And I kind of do that as well, but then I always sort of try and get to the conclusion where I'm telling myself, no, like, I won't get back on the gear. Like, for instance, when my parents die, like, I imagine myself, I know it sounds weird, like, but I imagine myself going to the funeral and then not going to a wake afterwards, not having a drink to get through it, not getting on sniff to get through it. And when you hear these stories about other people who have been through, stuff that most people will never have to go through, and rightly so, losing your child, like, it's one of the worst things that can happen to a human being, right? And I hope I never have to go through that. But when you hear stories from people like this and you think, wow, he went through that and didn't relapse, like, it makes you think, like, who am I to even comprehend falling off the wagon when something happens to me, But also, it makes you put things into perspective, that are going on in my life now. For instance, when I feel like I don't want to go to the gym, or when I wake up and I struggle to get out of bed, who am I to be struggling with these minuscule little challenges in my life when there's people out there that have had to go through that, ex-heroin addicts that have had their 5-year-old son die in their arms and they haven't gone back to taking heroin. Who am I to not be able to get out of bed in the morning? Who am I to even consider not picking up the camera and making a video when I've kind of promised to myself and everyone else who watches these videos that I am going to do it on a daily basis, when I've declared that I only deserve to live a happy, clean life if I'm willing to put in the work and inspire other people. Who am I to fall at the first hurdle in my minuscule little battles that I'm struggling with? It really does put it in perspective, and it is important, if you are going through any struggle in your life, but if you are a drug addict and you're trying to stay clean, it is important to listen to other people's stories, and where appropriate, it is important to tell other people your story. We're all in this together. We all need to help each other. And Daniel Riley's podcast, Minister Sobriety, is awesome for that. It's funny because I've always, on this channel, sort of fantasized about one day myself, inviting guests onto this channel to tell their story, to help other people, to help me, to help other people. But it's one of them things where I think, I need to get to a certain level myself, with my self-improvement, with my recovery, and with the channel, I feel like I have to get to a certain level before I can sort of start making stuff like that a reality. But I also know that that's wrong, to think, I'll do that when. I'll do that when I'm good enough. I'll do that when circumstances are right. I understand how that mentality can hold you back from anything. And I think I've said on this channel before how, there's never a right time to do anything. You should just do it when you want to do it. So look, if there is anyone out there, who wants to come on this channel and we can sit down and, do like that style of podcast, if you think you've got a story that can help other people, then do get in touch. But, I'm sure that sort of thing will organically start happening, as I do progress in my journey more, as the channel hopefully keeps growing. And as I get to a point where I'm stronger and, I've built myself up to a better place myself. But anyway, right now, I need to get myself in the gym. I'm going to start off on the exercise bike, which is becoming a bit of a crutch. I really do need to get back on doing my really fast incline walk. But I think today I'm going to sit on the exercise bike, give my foot a rest, because I might actually be trying to go to boxing tomorrow. Just going to do a warm-up on the exercise bike, get my heart rate up, warm my body up, and then I'm going to go into an arms and chest session, and I'm hoping to do a full arm and chest session because it is relatively early. But let's get in there and get this done. I haven't been to the gym for days now. Alright, gym sesh done, and as usual I'm feeling awesome. I feel like I went pretty hard in there, which is what you should do on every gym session. I done 5 miles on the bike, and I actually went at quite a pace as well, and then ended up doing the 5 machines on arms and chest. On the 2 chest machines, I sort of raised the seat on it because in my mind that is going to hit the lower chest more because of the sort of angle my arm would be at. In my mind, that means I'm sitting at more of an angle that you would be laying at on a decline compared to an incline, if that makes sense. I don't know, I'll check my chest pump when I get in. But it's now 9:10, so not super early, but not super late. And I do have work to do tonight. I definitely want to at least chip away a little bit at the next car video. I would love to get that out tomorrow, but that will probably be a bit of a push, but we'll see. But looking forward to getting home, having some chicken and some eggs, and probably going to have some salad with it, and spend some time with my beautiful girlfriend. Slight change of plan. no salad today. We're having vegetables and sweet potato fries with my 2 chicken breasts and 2 eggs. I asked the lady that gets our shopping to get some sweet potatoes, and she got sweet potato fries instead. Always hear people talking about sweet potatoes on, you know, videos that I watch about healthy eating and going to the gym and stuff. So I don't know how much less healthy sweet potato fries are than sweet potatoes, but if you know, do let us know in the comments. I do know that I like sweet potato fries because we have them at Nando's. Anyway, this definitely needs a couple of minutes to cool down. So I'm going to take the opportunity to import some files into my MacBook. Well, after chilling out with Kat for a bit and chipping away quite a bit at some editing, it's now 5 past midnight, so I really do need to go and brush my teeth and get myself to bed. But yeah, today has been a way better day compared to yesterday and the day before. Really getting through my cold now, which is good, although Kat is still suffering. And yeah, just need to get up tomorrow and do the right thing and crack on with another productive day. So time for me to go to bed. Massive thanks as always to everyone who's tuned in. Really appreciate it. Feel free to say hello in the comments and we'll have a chat, or get in touch through the usual channels. All the links to everything will be in the description. But other than that, chat to you tomorrow.